All right, welcome to another episode of the FitBUX podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome there as well. Got a special one today, a first actually. And what I mean by that is FitBUX, we're always looking for different types of products, financial products primarily, to help people execute their financial plan. And these can be anywhere from like mortgages, student loan refinance companies that we partner with, all that type of stuff. And the popular request that I've gotten from many of you is those are all for personal finance. Can you do some stuff with business stuff and help us like entrepreneurs and whatnot? And well, the answer is yes. We went out, got one of our first partners in terms of that scope of the world for all of you guys that are self-employed. Um, and I'm excited for this because I like what they're doing. I like their founding story. And that's with Jane. And so Raman's here from Jane today to talk about her background as well as the Jane app, let you guys know how you can use it, who's this for, some of the special discounts and how you guys can, get basically using their product and yeah, how to maximize it. So that way you guys can make your lives more efficient and make everything easier, right? Like we all like launching our own businesses. We like the sexy stuff. We don't like some of the back end stuff. So the better we can streamline that, the better. So without further ado, Raman, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here, Joseph.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Obviously, we're going to talk about Jane. Before we do, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your journey before Jane, like with Jane, why you went to Jane, do you like it? Just everything. Just a quick background about yourself, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love the journey question. I feel like I could take this so many different ways, but I'm based out of Abbotsford, British Columbia. That's in Canada. For those tuning in today, I would say for the most part, let's talk non-Jane for the first little bit here. Grew up in BC. Love the mountains, love the outdoors. I have a golden retriever, so if you're not catching me right now, either on this podcast or chatting with customers about Jane, you'll usually catch me at the lake, hiking or traveling. Basically, that's really me in a nutshell. Before Jane, I started my journey just in general in customer service. Right, started in customer service, just fell in love with it, and I would say the biggest thing there is just connecting, right? Connecting with different folks, whether it be in whatever sort of industry I was in, right? It was in sales, it was in insurance, and then eventually it brought me to Jane. And you're probably wondering, how did that happen? How the heck did that happen, Raman? But I actually come from a family of doctors and nurses, right? So all in this like medical field, physiotherapists, and all this, have friends and family all in this scope. I just knew from very early on that I did not want work in a hospital setting, right? Brother's a doctor, sister's a nurse, and if you think about just the path to take, it would be like, hey, this sweet, let's just go down this path. But I knew for me, I love connecting in a different type of way. I love the tech space. Ended up finding Jane, and it's fantastic because it feels a little bit like a full circle moment in the sense of Jane actually helps allied health professionals. So on the day to day, I get to actually chat with physiotherapists or physical therapists and chiropractors and everything in between of the allied health space. So yeah, that's a little bit about me in a quick little nutshell.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's crazy to see how everything just goes like full circle, back
Totally,
into like healthcare and everything else. And it's cool that your family is part of that and you can be part of it from a different aspect of as well. So that is
totally.
all. That's a cool journey.
Yes.
Where you're at so far, that is fantastic. Now, Jane App, obviously I know what it is. I even saw at CSM, those of you that don't know what CSM is, the largest physical therapy conference here in the United States. Saw, met a bunch of your colleagues there last week.
Amazing.
For those of you that don't know, for those listeners that don't know what Jane is, just give them a high level overview. What it is, how it came to be, just a little bit more about Jane from a high level.
Yeah, for sure. Jane is honestly a practice management software that can sort of replace your EMR. So very high level online booking, charting, integrated payment processing, and flexible scheduling. So if you think on the day to day, obviously the things that you need help support with, that's what sort of Jane helps with. And a little bit of a backstory on Jane for those of you who may not be familiar. It kind of came about in a clinic itself. So our co-founder, Ali, owned a practice or managed a practice, and probably sometimes, and what most folks kind of face on the day to day is like needing to find something to help streamline, right? We totally understand that practitioners are good at what they do. They want to spend time with their patients and be able to treat them on the day to day. So what Jane does is help you sort of optimize your day-to-day operation. So you don't have to really worry too much about that admin work. It kind of helps take care of that for you and also helps you grow your business, especially as business owners, because practitioners sometimes forget you're not only a practitioner treating your patients, you're also on the other end a business owner trying to scale or, trying to get to a goal of yours.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the story about how it got started, essentially, in the clinic, it was used for yourself. I mean, I've been around the startup world for a long time, and it's crazy to how many companies that end up actually being very valuable. They never sought out to be this like, nine-figure business or something like that. It was like, look, I am a business. I have this need. I'm going to create this, and then it just snowballs from there. It just the snowball gets bigger and bigger and
Totally.
bigger and bigger, and then it's like, holy cow, like this is a major need. Like if I got this problem, everybody else does too.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's exactly it, right? It began at in Ali's clinic, and then from there, really has grown from word of mouth. Like, oh hey, what are you using, or what are you using? Is this something I could use in my practice? And then from there, that's just almost 10 to 12 years later, here we are.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. So, I mean, with that being said, who is Jane built for? Primarily like practitioners, clinics, like who's primarily using it at this stage?
Great question. I think it's for the allied health professionals. So for just to kind of dig into that a little bit more, physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists, massage therapists, and anybody in that space. I will say though, it's not limited to that. I am a demo specialist at Jane here, and I have demoed for everything from allied health professionals to also spas and other sort of aspects of what people use Jane for, right? Because it does really help you on the day to day. It just depends on if it meets your business needs.
Yeah, I know an acupuncturist that uses it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy like just the different types of use cases. I mean, if you are a new practitioner, and like I brought up one of my main things, some of the most valuable stuff, for example, about FitBUX is technologies that just streamline stuff for us, which saves time. Just
Yes.
touch a little bit on how Jane, will streamline that for a new practitioner and allow them to actually treat more patients instead of dealing with all the other BS that they got to deal with.
Yeah, no, 100%. I feel like it does help you streamline the day to day and really help save time. There's a few features that come in really, really handy, right? The hands-off online booking, allowing your clients to be able to book in appointments with you, no more having to wait for a phone call or, get that email in your inbox and saying, oh, hey, can I schedule an appointment? And going back and forth with trying to figure out a time, right? So having that flexible scheduling and the big thing, I don't think I've actually ever heard a practitioner say, I love charting. Yeah, it's funny. I've been doing this for 5 years. I don't think I've ever heard that, but I would say that Jane makes it super easy when it comes to charting, right? We want practitioners to focus on what they love doing, and that is treating their clients, right? And let us help you with the things that might not be your favorite part of the day. Hey, some folks might like charting. There might be somebody listening to this that's saying, "Hey, Raman, I actually love charting," which is fantastic. But we do make things super super easy when it comes to the day to day, saving time with certain types of features. This depends on what matters most to you.
Yeah, so on those features, um, got a question on two sides. One, what is your
Yes.
personal favorite? But like you said, you're always giving demos to people and stuff. What do you see practitioners like if you had to rank them like one through three, like the top features that you hear from them? What are those?
Yeah, great question. I would say number one is payments. So Jane Payments, that's our built-in payment solution. And the big thing I would say for practitioners and AKA business owners, you want to get paid for the services that you're doing. So it's nice because Jane allows you to collect and process payments all within your Jane account, and you get deposited right into your bank account. So I say that one, I would say the most I am definitely chatting about. Other ones, I would say online booking. Online booking is a big one. So underrated, but one that people usually don't notice of how handy it comes when folks have that flexibility, and your patients also appreciate it, right? Patients can now easily, not having to call you, having to go back and forth, like I mentioned, over email. They can just pop onto your website and take a look at your availability and easily book in appointments right from your account, which is very nice. So I would say those ones are the big ones that I see come to mind that folks are like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a time saver, Raman. I love this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now I got to ask you about this because this is the big word around like the world right now. Actually, I shouldn't even say word. It's the big initials that everybody's talking about. AI, most people don't even know what AI is. Like I talk to people all the time and businesses and they're like, I have AI. And then you look at it and it's like 2 + 2 = 4. It's like, no, that's an algorithm with a simple mathematical output. That's not AI. I know that you guys are tying in some true AI types of technologies and whatnot. Can you touch on what you guys are doing there?
Yeah, I hear you there on AI. It's funny. It's a question that comes up quite often, I would say nowadays. But when it comes to AI, I think the way that Jane is approaching AI is really as a tool to help enhance your day to day. So one of the features that we have right now using AI is our voice to chart. So, for example, allowing practitioners again that may we're kind of circling back to this, right? Practitioners don't always love, typing in and charting every single day. So the nice thing is that this AI feature, voice to chart, which is what we call it here at Jane, actually records your session and transcribes it into a soap note. So very hands off and very, capable of being able to again focus on the other things and allowing AI to kind of help, I would say, and that's how I see AI. Even for me on the day to day, I feel like actually a helpful tool. I think it scares some people in the sense of like, oh my gosh, like what is this gonna take over and what is this gonna do? But I honestly just find it as a helpful tool to really enhance my day to day on doing the things that I do.
Yeah, it's crazy. Quick, funny story. Like I'm always, as an entrepreneur, just looking at different problems that people have. And, my wife, those of you that don't know, my wife's a PT and, just colleagues of hers, it's like the number one complaint I always hear is notes and charting. It takes up so much time. And I literally told her probably a few months ago, I was like somebody should just create a technology that listens to, records the conversation and then automatically with AI just transcribes the notes. Like it should be pretty easy to do. And I was like, maybe I'll launch that company too. And then I started talking with you guys, and you're like, "Yeah, this is the AI we're doing." I'm like, I guess you guys beat me to the punch." So no, that's good though because again, I look at that and it's like, you're building this for the user. A lot of times, startup companies and new companies they build something because they like it and they don't listen to the user. Like this is a real problem that a user would have, and that type of feature is fantastic. So.
Oh, for sure.
So obviously, Jane, if you're starting off brand new, like it's easy to set up. But what if you already have like a cash pay business, you want to switch over, you have a clinic, you want to switch it over, you're a 1099 contractor, you might already have some stuff through like Excel and 20 other different things you're using. Um, just talk about what that looks like, to make that switch and that onboard onto Jane.
Yeah, great question. I think that when it comes to our import process, we try to make it as easy as possible, right? Especially for, those folks that are new, you're kind of starting from scratch, so that it doesn't really involve an import per se. But for those folks that you mentioned are importing from another software, we do have an amazing importing team. And when I say they are the ninjas, they are the ninjas. They bring over your data from your previous software, things like your charts, your appointments, your, patient list, and we sort of help you export that and import that into Jane. So I would say that it's a big one. I always mention this in my demos. Moving from one software to another can be very overwhelming, but what we do at Jane is we try to make that as easy as possible and as smooth as possible. So not only do you have an amazing imports team that help with importing your data to Jane, but we have a fantastic onboarding team where you get a account setup call, one-on-one, just like we're kind of doing here, but a one-on-one to be like, hey, Raman, I need help setting up my account up. Let's talk about forms. Let's talk about templates, and just making sure you're set up for success before you actually go live with your account. You want to make sure you feel good before you actually present that out to your patients and yourself as a user, as a practitioner using it as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And by the way, I like to point out if some of you guys are watching on video, like you might see me looking at different screens. Like I keep forgetting which one the camera's on, so I apologize. Um, so I apologize for that. But one of the things I wanted to bring up was we talked about streamlining stuff and consolidating stuff um for owners and business owners and entrepreneurs. Um, and Jane, sometimes that when you consolidate, like sometimes you might even pay for a platform that is more expensive than all those little pieces, but it consolidates it, so it makes it easier. Sometimes you can consolidate it and it's cheaper. Can you touch on that with Jane on how, you guys consolidate different services and different pieces, the cost back, like aspect of it and all that type of stuff, and just give some of the listeners some idea of how that all works?
Yeah, for sure. I think it kind of starts with the different sort of aspects and different tools that people are currently using. Some folks are using Google Docs for charting, and then they're using a separate payment processor, and then they're using something else for their reminders and notifications. The nice thing about Jane is we tried to think about, and when I say we, I mean our amazing developer team that has created this and our community. I should say that just hearing from our community about how we can like improve things on the day to day, but just sort of having everything in one spot, right? And thinking about that and how to save that money and how to consolidate things all in one system. So when it comes to, booking appointments, when it comes to payment processing, when it comes to charting, now everything is in one spot as opposed to flipping through multiple screens. I know you made a joke about that. Like, I don't know which screen my camera is on. I often do that too as well, Joseph, just because I have my different monitors. But imagine now having a one screen where you could just see everything from your charting, from your billing, from your note taking. So I would say that no more having multiple subscriptions for multiple things on the day to day.
Yeah, it's a pain. Like I'm sitting here and like something just pops up. It's like,
Yeah.
and then I get confused. It's like, where am I going here? So good stuff. Well, we're about to wrap it up, but like I said, we always try to give our listeners and our users and our members the ability to save money, use tools. All of our partners will have some type of benefit for FitBUX members. Just touch a little bit on how users can go about reaching out to Jane, demoing it, setting up a call with you guys, any type of special that they have with FitBUX, and how they get that special. And then, yeah, we'll go from there.
Awesome. Yes. So we would love to hear from you. So if you are interested in just hearing a little bit more, I would love to hear your clinic story. I might be one of those that is demoing with you. So if you do want to book a demo with Jane, just hop over to our website, jane.app. You'll see a book an appointment right on the top right-hand corner. And the amazing FitBucks community that's listening in right now, we do have a special promo code for you. So it's FitBucks, and that's going to give you you 1 month off for your subscription. So I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to kind of hear a little bit more about your clinic story.
Yeah, perfect. Um, any other closing thoughts or anything else that you would like to share, either about yourself, Jane, anything else that you want to let the listeners know?
I would say that just kind of to wrap things up, thanks so much, Joseph, for having me and spending this time and introducing me to your amazing community. I would say last little thing that I'll touch on is not you're never alone with Jane. So for those that are thinking of, hey, this might be something that I want to use, but it can be a little bit overwhelming. We have an amazing community. So it's not only that you are getting an entire support team behind you, which is our Jane support team, but you get an amazing community of practitioners that are using Jane on the day to day that probably have certain questions that they had when they were at your journey. So that's probably the last thing I wanted to touch on. And you're not alone. We're all here and we're in this together.
Yeah, perfect. And that's why I'm glad to partner with you guys because, like I said, a lot of our stuff is on the personal finance side. This is more on the business finance side, and we had to have a lot of people everywhere from independent contractors to owning their own clinics and whatnot. So anything that we can do to continue to help them, like you said, you're not in this alone. Um, you know, I myself personally have gone through a lot of trial and error on these things and spent a lot of money doing it. So being able to pass along that knowledge and put together those resources for you guys is fantastic. I mean, with that said, we're always looking for feedback from our listeners as well. Like if there's anything out there that you guys are having trouble finding, let us know any questions you have anywhere from high yield savings accounts to like malpractice insurance. Like, let us know. And we'll go try to find and get some feedback from the community and then come up with something that you guys can use. So, thanks again for joining the podcast. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you as well. And we will see you guys soon.